Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So today marks the final chapter for Service Cloud certification. So I've covered pretty much everything you need to know to be successful in this certification. That being said, right, I do expect you guys to do your own hands-on using Trailhead, doing Super Badge. I highly encourage you guys to do so. The reason being I'm saying, right, if you're someone who do not have much Salesforce experience, say for instance, if you have never worked with the Service Cloud platform as a part of your job, then I would highly encourage you to go and do Super Badge. But if you're someone who has a lot of experience in the Service Cloud, who knows how the Service Cloud works, how to configure things, have done that in the past, then I think that journey will be pretty easy for you to clear the certification. So that's one of my recommendations to you guys. Just don't follow my video. That's just not good enough. I've tried to cover everything, which is great, but you need to practice, right? You need to work out a different scenario, probably from a study group. So that's very important in my opinion because I'm not the kind of guy who say, hey, just go and study my course, you will be 100% successful. It depends on you, right? I mean, my job is to teach you, based on the certification as well as, based on the real life scenario. But if you do not do hands-on, if you don't invest time to understand the reason why you should do certain things, then I'm afraid it won't be an easy ride. So I have to be very upfront about it. So what I'm going to do today, so as usual, right, as a part of the ritual, if you've been following along for all of this previous certification, I do cover a few questions, which is Salesforce certification related question, which is obviously given to you by Salesforce. This is an old PDF for the Winter 19. I couldn't find for 2022, but that's fine. I mean, at least most of the things are similar. So it will give you an idea of what you can expect as part of your certification, right? This is recommended to you by Salesforce, so I'm not, giving out any questions. It's just all out there. So, right, it's just the Salesforce content. Right. So we talked pretty much everything, right? We talked about how to configure Service Cloud. We talked about how to configure the knowledge base. We talked about Omni channels, right? Where I've demonstrated how to do a chat and case to email, so all different kind of stuff, right? So what I'm going to do, we'll go through questions to see, how you can answer them. So one thing I would highly encourage you guys, right? Please do not use dumps, right? I know that there are a lot of dumps out there, and looks cool, but I'm not in favor of it. The reason why I'm telling you why I'm not in favor of it. If you're gonna use dumps, right, you might clear the certification, but when you go into the real job, right, you might struggle. So might as well, if you're taking that much pain to go and buy the dump, might as well go and study, right? And clear it in the right way. It's good for your own, right? Because you're investing your own time, you're investing your own energy, so might as well study in the right way and understand things, and clear it in the right way. So when you go and apply for a job, at least the interviewer will know, right? Oh, this guy knows something. So yeah, okay. Um, Now, let's talk at first question, right? So, which three tasks should be included in business continuity plan for contact center? Contact center, right? Could be a call center, right? I talked about it. Um, so, route case to agent in an alternative center. Disable the interactive voice response system. Deliver training on case handling for contingent staff. Update the case status field values, monitor service level agreement, and notify customers. Okay, so when you get this kind of question, right? So you have to uh, look at from two angles, right? So first thing, right? Is it a business question or is it a technical question? So you can read about the in the question, so right, which three tasks should be included in a business continuity plan. So we are talking about the business. We are not talking about the configuration. Okay. So the configuration part is pretty much isolated. So we're talking about the business continuity for a contact center, or you can, if you can't relate to contact center, just imagine a call center, right? That will do the job. So business plan for a call center. Route case to an agent in an alternative center. Makes sense, right? You wanted to route. It just the contact center is a part of, can have more than one call center, right? Let's say you're talking about two call centers and route case to an agent in an alternative call center. If an agent is busy, if one call center is completely flat out with issues, it makes total sense to route, right? So I think it makes total sense as a part of the business, right? So I disable the interactive voice response system. Why would you do that? I mean, it makes no sense to me, because why would you want to disable a voice response system, right? If it doesn't make a sense, it does not help the customer. I mean, it's like a stupid opinion in my. So I personally will think, if somebody thinks that this is a part of the business continuity plan, that's a plain stupid. So I personally believe should be scrapped. Deliver training on case handling. So training is a part of continuity plan, right? So because we're talking from a business process perspective, we're not talking from a configuration perspective, right? So training do forms an important part of plan. So I believe training should be included, and the first A is correct, B is correct. Okay. Update the case status field value. What did I tell you? We are not talking about the configuration. So case status field value is a configuration thing. So remove it. Okay, D gone. So I don't know, monitor service level agreement and notify customer. So right now you isolated B and D, right? So if you like it or not like it, the E is the choice anyway. So the answer will be A, C, and E. Okay, we'll look at it later. I haven't looked at this question, so I don't know. I haven't looked at the answer, so I'm just telling from my experience. I have Service Cloud experience, so I'm just going with my gut feeling. It could be wrong. I don't know, right? So I'm going on ACE. Like I said, I haven't looked at the answer, so I don't like to do that because I wanted to give you that real life, experience. So Universal Containers plan to deploy Service Console to the support team, right? So a company wants to deploy Salesforce Service Console, right? So I've talked about Service Console. There are non-console, there is console, right? So where you have case and you can do that omni-channel chat and all kind of stuff. If you remember, what three should be considered? Customize highlight panel for all object. Um, I will park that for now. Set up interaction logs and assign them to user profile, which makes total sense to me. B is correct. Assign user the Service Cloud user feature license, which is absolutely important. Set up the user and assign them to the queue. Um, it does make sense, but I park it. Customize case list view. We don't need that. Okay. So E is gone. I'm confused between B, D, and A. So B and C is the correct option, 100% sure. But I'm not 100. I'm just so for now. I'll mark it as say D, right? B, C, D, right? Okay. So E is not a right option. So I can tell you straight away. So I will put as B, C, um, D, right? Knowledge container needs to closely manage. So we're talking about knowledge. So if you remember, I talked about articles, how to publish it, and permission sets, all kind of stuff we talked about, right? So knowledge containers needs to closely manage the publishing lifecycle of an article. We're talking about articles. Someone publish it, then it goes to approval. Who can edit it, who can view it, that kind of stuff, right? Article managers will be granted different publishing capabilities, right? From an article creation through archiving published articles. So we're talking about the permissions, the different grants. So how should the permission for article managers be set up? Okay. Create public group with article manager and assign each group to specific article action. Makes sense to me. Create publication team. Mm, Create public group with article manager. It's a specific publication state that C is total rubbish. I can say clearly. Create. So I've isolated C, right? Create public. It doesn't work. So C is gone. So now I have three, A, B, and D, right? A looks okay to me, but I'm a bit confused with the D as well. Create publication team. So it's not exactly correct. So I can isolate the B. So now I have with A and D. Create publication teams with our manager and assign each time to specific. Um, no, so the states it's not matter here. So D is gone, C is gone, so it will be A. Okay, that's cool. Support agent has detailed question about product functionality. Agent need to access. Okay, so we talk agent need to access real-time response for internal subject matter expert. So we are talking about a kind of collaboration. All right. So so your answer lies in the question itself. Support agent has a detailed question about product functionality, right? So, I wanted to know about the solar panel. I wanted to know about the rotors. I wanted to know about specific engine, right? So the agent needs to access a real-time response for it. So to how do you contact a subject matter expert? So it's kind of a collaboration, right? You're seeking assistance. So what more better than a chatter? Chatter is highly used for collaboration. So my without looking at it, I see mass email. No, absolutely not. Public groups, absolutely not. Escalation rule, no. So the chatter makes a total sense. So the answer is chatter. Um, all right. Universal Container plan to implement Salesforce knowledge for its US call center, right? To assist agents in providing customer support. Okay, so I wanted to implement knowledge. Three options should be considered when planning. Okay, so we're talking about the knowledge base, right? So when we are talking about, let's say, I run a solar panel company, right? So I wanted to implement a knowledge uh, as a part of the Service Cloud implementation. So now the question you should be asking, right? Why you should need to implement a knowledge? First of all, you want to publish an article, right? So the things you need to consider publishing article. First of all, the kind of content you want to publish. Do you want to categorize it? Obviously, right? If you categorize your article, it will make it easy to search. And do you need an approval process, right? Because obviously, person who's editing it and approving it should be different, right? So, and who can have edit rights and approve rights? So the first thing, the content you want to publish, the kind of content. It could be a question and answer, it could be a detail, steps, right? Do you want it to categorize it, right? So say it's a question and answer. This is for a detailed implementation or whatever. And then once you publish it, someone has to proofread it and approve it. Uh, so generally 3 to 4 important stuff, right? So let's look at so that's the first thing you should, think about it. You should clear your mind in terms of knowledge uh, concept when you get something like that. I mean, not only from a knowledge, if you get, say, for instance, if you get a question around a web chat, right? You should know what is a web chat, how to configure a chat as a part of omnichannel, right? So where do you go? So you go to support, you go to recommend a setup, and you can configure it for chat. You need to have a chat queue, right? And the person needs to be routed, and you perhaps need to embed certain things to your page. So you need to have those things in your mind, right? So it makes your journey a bit smoother. So that's the way I approach a problem. So the three, what type of information they need to publish, right? Which is correct. I mentioned who can approve it, which is exactly mentioned. How information should be categorized is pretty important. Where call center support agents are located, who give it damn, right? Where the call center agents are located, because the location does not matter. I mean, someone might be located in the United States, someone might be located in, say, New Zealand. What difference it makes? When the knowledge maintenance windows is available, it makes no sense to me, so it's relevant. So it's ABC. Okay. All right. So that's the five questions. So let's look at the answer. The first one is ACE. ACE. Right. Um, and the second one, what did I say? I said B, C, and D. Right. Right. So I got the second one wrong. So it's B and C is correct. So I was a bit confused between the first and the A and D. So customize highlight panel for all objects. So that's correct. Okay. Third one should be A. Okay, that's correct. Fourth one should be B. And fifth one should be A, B, C. Okay. So out of five, I got four right. So I passed the test. So if I would have got only one right, then I would have failed. So, I mean, I've given Salesforce certification. I don't get all the questions right every time. Even though I have experience on certain things. Like, for instance, I give you an example: integration architect. Right? I have lots of integration experience. And do you think that I scored 100? No, I didn't. I did mistakes. Right? So certain things I got confused. So it happens, right? But you learn from it because you when you see your score, you say, oh, okay, I was expecting I and the deployment one, was pretty simple as well. Deployment one is the one I actually scored very high because the deployment architect is the easiest architect certification. Right. So this marks the end of our Service Cloud Consultant certification. I hope you guys enjoyed it, learned something from it, and I hope you guys are excited to go and take the certification. But like I said, just please do not uh, focus only on my videos. Please go to Trailhead, do Super Badge, right? It's very important. Form a study group, work with your mates, perhaps join a user group, right? Maybe in your region, like for instance, in New Zealand, we have user groups. They sometimes talk about different topics. Or if you're comfortable, you can go and talk about certain things. Like I did a talk last year at Sydney Developer Group where I talked about external services. I do have plan to talk this year in New Zealand as well as in Australia. So you can do that, right? If you're from India, India has a lot of Salesforce groups, 20 groups, different states, right? If you're from United States have the similar, like you have Boston group, you have maybe you might have some. I mean, I'm not good with American states, so I'm just saying, different places have different groups, so it's good to be part of it, and if you can contribute, it's great. Or like I do, you can start your own YouTube channel, right? You can start teaching people. That's another way, right? So whatever works for you guys, right? So that's more important. So after this, you must be wondering what next, right? I'm thinking, you see, I can't do Omni Studio this year because I do not have hands-on experience with Velocity. I will be getting one this year. Hopefully, I can say once I have real-time project implementation experience, I can teach you guys on that. But without that, it's pointless, right? What's the point of you guys learning from you? You guys might as well go to Trailhead and learn, right? The only reason I believe you guys uh, listen to me because I try to bring a real life implementation experience. Otherwise, what's the point, right? You could might as well study it by yourself. I might do Marketing Cloud, right? I do have some Marketing Cloud experience, so I can do that. And yeah, and one more thing I just wanted to mention, I've pretty much completed identity access certification. I mean, I know that if you guys been waiting for it, my apologies. It took a long time this time, right? Because I've been flat out busy, right? I mean, a lot of things going on in my life. It just a lot of things. Like I told you, right? I joined Big Four, one of the Big Four in New Zealand, right? I don't want to name any, specifically. You can figure out if you're following me on LinkedIn. So I've been working for, a project for a government agency. It's pretty hectic, a lot of stuff to do. And since, when you can code, right, it makes your life more easier as well as people demand more time from you, right? So Um, so that's one of the thing I've been quite busy with, and I've been working on my virtual reality app. So that's taking a lot of time. I mean, I've been pretty slack in pretty much working on my book, and I've been preparing for TOGAF. That's an enterprise architect thing. Yeah, I was working. I'm preparing to. I'm preparing. I'm going to take in a few months' time. So, and then I wanted to, focus on um, my podcast as well. I'm planning to bring my boss to my show. My boss is a CTA. He's a partner. He's a CTA as well. He's a pretty unknown person in New Zealand. Um, and the one other good thing I say about my boss, right, is pretty hands-on. Right, you must assume, right? I don't know which part of the world you guys from who are listening to me, especially in New Zealand, right, market. We have a huge demand for technical talent. We got a lot of functional consultants. I mean, we don't more than what we need, in simple terms, right? I mean, a functional consultant uh, pretend they can code, but I've seen the kind of code they write. I mean, no offense, right? I mean, I've been programming for years, but the way sometimes people write code, Salesforce has a very low bar when it comes to development aspect, right? And compared to a .NET technology or Java, Salesforce development space has extremely low bar. And the kind of code when I see people write, it just makes me wonder, am I looking at procedural programming language or an object-oriented programming language? Because when people don't understand why you need a data structure in place, why you need a concept of protected methods in place, right? So, or why you need to use interfaces, why you need to use, design pattern. If they don't understand that, you lose half of your battle straight away, right? Because it's just a waste of time, pretty much, right? You think you might as well insta fix it. So that's one of my advice to you guys. It doesn't matter you are a technical architect. You should be hands-on. That's one of the thing, especially the place where I work in Big Four, in my company, right? We make sure that the people who we hire has good hands-on experience because it's no point, right? I mean, personally, if I wanted to hire an architect, I don't want an architect just who just talk. I want an architect who can do hands-on. Right? What's the point of paying someone a lot of money coming to and just do only talk? Yeah, it's different if you're an enterprise architect. That's a different responsibility. Then your focus is not just on Salesforce. You must be expected to jump in when there's an AWS issue or when there's a MuleSoft issue, or when there is a something to do with say neural networks or something to do with AI stuff, right? So or other kind of system engineering. So that's my advice to you guys. If you're starting out, just be proactive when it comes to hands-on. Right? Please don't say, "All right, this is too technical. I can't be bothered." When you can't be bothered, right? Then you cannot be a technical architect. I'm sorry to say, right? And if you are a functional consultant, and you wanted to code, just please learn to code in the right way. That's all I'm saying, right? Because you will be very valuable in the market. Extremely valuable. So yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to mention. So what I said, I didn't mean to offend anyone, but I'm just telling specifically from a New Zealand market point of view, or you can also say from Australian, because I do talk to people from Australia. I sometimes get a call or an email from a recruiter. Hey, you wanted to work for an Australian company? It's easy, if you're a New Zealander. It's for us, it's easy to work in Australia, but the only reason why I don't go to work in Australia is we got a lot of work in New Zealand market itself, right? So we got a lot of talent shortage. I mean, a real talent shortage. What I'm saying, there's someone who when I talk about talent shortage, I'm not talking about someone who has certification and can do the job. I'm talking about someone who really know the stuff, right? I mean, I've interviewed a few people, and I mean, in spite of a talent shortage, I do not like to bring someone who can't do the job, right? It's pointless because you're adding a liability to the team and cost the company more money. And I'm 100% against it. Right? I'd rather prefer someone who from a different technology to bring into Salesforce and teach them Salesforce rather than someone who have who do not know how to do the stuff. I'm not in favor of it. So Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are not doing charity, right? We are in a business, right? And the company wants to make money if they're using the right people, and the right people needs to get rewarded. I'm in favor of paying right people the right amount of money, right? I do not like, to pay people less. Like I run a company too. I run a training company. I had a few people. I used to have, I mean, there was a developer who worked for me from Poland. I used to pay him well because he was amazing talent, right? And I don't like paying people less if they're skilled. But if they're not skilled, I rather prefer not to keep them. So that's my personal choice, right? I mean, you guys can disagree, say that this guy is, whatever, right? But I'm a businessman. At the end of the day, I prefer to help people at the same time expect them to do their job. So that's pretty much it is. All right, so that's pretty much I wanted to talk about. So have a great weekend and Shabbat Shalom.